Okay, let me do my checks and I'll be with you in a moment. Hold on, please. We got to make sure everything is working properly. We got to get it right. No excuses, as they say. Let me make sure everything is good to go. Oh, we're good. Got to get it right. Okay, we are totally good. Okay, I'm in the house. This is Knowledge from Beyond. And I would like to welcome everyone to the podcast today. We have a great show as we normally do every Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, I'm on my Facebook page, but on Wednesday, I'm on the Spirit Realm Network talking the metaphysical. And who am I? I'm Lynn David Livsey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. And we've been stuck on ghosts for the last 3 weeks. And I can go to another subject or I can stay on this subject. It depends on whatever y'all want. Remember, I'm here to spill the beans. So if you want to know, if you like this ghost subject, we can keep it going or we can switch to something else. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about how to get rid of things, how to do cleansings, how to get ghosts out of your house, how to do elimination, how to do all that good stuff. So I'm going to be spilling the beans. Some people might get mad because there's a lot of people that make money out of getting rid of stuff. Okay. So, and getting rid of ghosts and spirits have a lot more to do than just having things in your house. This also have to do with people putting things against you. There's ways to check. So, as we normally do, we're getting started. And as we normally do, we always go back to the beginning. Now, how far back we're going to go this time to get to the beginning? The beginning is always pretty far. Today, we're going back to really far back. We're going to go back to where, remember, El left. And El appointed 600 watchers to watch over the earth. Now, why did the earth need 600 watchers? That's a different subject for a different day. But the earth needed 600 watchers to watch over it while El was gone. And 200 of the 600 conspired and came down. They saw that the women of the earth was fair. We discussed that before. They like light-skinned women with dark hair. Okay, this is why all the women around the equator who are covered, they didn't cover the women up in Scandinavia because they was white. They didn't cover the women in Africa because they're dark. They like that black-white combination is what drives them insane. So they saw that the women of the earth was fair and they came down and they had relations with them. And they taught the women things. And then after this, they was here. They've been here ever since. Okay. Now, we've been dealing with these creatures for a very long time. This is what I call the game of soccer. The game of soccer is, there's 5 different levels, which I told you before. You can worship them. You can work with them. You can know them. You can have the power of them and you can be one with them. Okay. So that is the 5 different levels. Most people are just happy to just worship them. And who do I say them? Aren't we worshiping God? Well, there's we don't even know what God is. Is God a spirit, an angel, what? We have no idea. Okay. But we've been worshiping these beings which is not of our dimension, which are not of our world for a very, very, very long time, going back to the beginning since we've been here. And these beings have always been here and they probably will always be here. And since these beings have free will, some of these beings are here for our benefit. Some of them are here for their benefit. Some of them are what we would call negative. Some are positive. It depends. It's just like with us. Since they have free will, it depends on what they're doing. And most of these beings that are been here for a very long time. Now, after they got finished with the women and everything, they was here. And then, The book of Enoch says the same thing. The book of Jubilee said the same thing, that once they devoured everything on the earth, they started to devour man because they had giants, which was their children. And then the angels complained to God. They went and said, don't you know all things? Don't you know what your sons are doing up on the earth? Don't you hear their blood crawling out? Okay, you get what I'm talking about? And he did not answer. He just said, go east of the garden, dig a hole, chain them. He called them by name, put them in the hole, and put sharp rocks on them until they can no longer see light. Okay. That place today is called Tartaru. Okay. That is where these creatures, the older ones, are still bound. Now, what does this have to do with us? We're still dealing with these creatures. They might be bound, and you have some creatures which are earthbound, some are not, but they deal with us. Okay. And as I said, in a positive and negative way. The Book of Enoch is the ruling for me on how you classify these beings. It says that the heavens was made for angels and the earth was made for man. Angels in heaven are considered good angels. Angels on earth are considered bad angels. So I did not say that. It's written in a book. Okay. So some people would say it doesn't make any difference if they're earthbound or not earthbound or whatever, but that is the key. And the ones that are here are earthbound. And the word angel means messenger of God. So if you're a messenger, that means you're only supposed to be here to deliver your message, and you're supposed to get the hell out. And we all have our guardian angels. Some of us have spirit guides. Some of us have guardians. Some of us have a lot of things. Okay. But they're supposed to be helping and assisting us from up there. They do not need to be watching you change clothes and doing the things that trying to climb in bed with you, and a lot of other things that they've been known for doing for a very, very, very long time. That's how they get kicked out. Okay. Now, a lot of people are confused by something called ghosts and spirits. They use the name interchangeably, but this is not. Apples and oranges are two different fruits. They are not the same. Ghosts are disemboweled people that have, remember, I'm backtracking a little bit. Well, who are we? We are spirit creatures which are playing the video game called Life on Earth, because our spiritual bodies have not been turned on yet. So we're forced to play the video game. In chakra theory, we are the seventh chakra that floats above our head, and we use our other six chakras to control this avatar or our puppet called our physical body. That is how we play this game called Life on Earth. Okay. This was what they was trying to simulate in the movie Avatar, where they gave him a body which he could control so he could interact with the natives. It's the same video game. He was one of them, but he was not one of them. But through his avatar, he was able to interact with the natives and be one of them, even though he was not one of them. Okay. So this is how we play this video game called Life on Earth. We do this through our avatar called our physical body. When we die, when our avatar get damaged or quit working, our seventh chakra is still there. We are that being that floats above our head. How we got in the video game, when we was remember we talked about that house upstairs. There's a house. The main floor is super beautiful. We call it heaven. It's definitely not heaven, but it's very beautiful upstairs. The main floor used to be beautiful. Now it's crowded with 7.2 billion people on it, and we kind of messed it up. Downstairs, you really don't want to talk about what's going on downstairs, especially in those dark corners. Okay. And we're going to talk about that probably next week, what's going on downstairs. Okay. But how did we get to the main floor? We was in the land of light. And when it was our time to play the video game, they gave us a quarter. They let us go into the dark tunnel. And when we went into the dark tunnel, we ended up in our mother's tummy. That is how we entered this world. And at the end of this video game, when your body dies, if you have light, the tunnel reopens and you can go back up the tunnel to the land of light. This is that court. This is that tunnel you see. The tunnel is the connection between your spiritual self and the back of your neck, which is the power cord that runs your avatar, or what they call in Hinduism, Kundalini. Your Kundalini energy is what activates the avatar and keep this body running. You get plugged in. Okay. And when you die, you're supposed to go back up that tunnel to go back upstairs. Ghosts are beings that have lost their avatar, but they have not returned to that land of light. They are in our existence, but they are not, they are not here. How can that be? We have to take another slight diversion to talk about dimensional theory. Dimensional theory is your TV set receives 200 stations. Some people TV sets receive 500 channels. Okay. But they only display them one at a time. There's something different on each channel. We're on channel 5. You have angels on channel 7. You got ghosts on channel 5, channel 4, maybe channel 6. Who knows? You got all kind of stuff. We share our world with several different channels, which are coexisting on our channel. This is why we see animals, we see dogs, we see roaches, we see jellyfish, we see bacteria, but they're in their own dimensional plane. We have no idea what it's like to be on that plane. A roach does not know that he's in your house. Okay. A roach is just doing his roach thing in his dimension. Okay. He has no idea that he's in your house and your house payment is 3 months behind. And if you don't get your house payment up, you're going to get kicked out. The roach does not understand that. Okay. You see what I'm saying? He's in his own little world. So there's several dimensional planes which lie in the same same in space, but all the space have life dimensionally to itself. So on channel 5, it's just us. And we see these other animals and other creations, but those birds and they're just doing their thing. Okay. So ghosts are in their own dimensional plane too, but they interact with us. Spirit creatures are not ghosts. Spirit creatures are not human beings that have been unplugged. Spirit creatures are coming from 2 different places. There are, hate to get deep, but there are 2 giant universes out there. There is the giant universe called the Ultraviolet Universe. Massive. This is where all these beings of light come from. You have the Ultraviolet Universe, which is massive, where all these dark creatures come from. And where these 2 universes slightly intersect one another is called the visible light spectrum. That is where we live, on the borderline between these 2 universes. So we are visited by a lot of different creatures that come to the beach. This is why we see so many weird things. The analogy is we are the crab on the beach. The crab sees a lot of weird things that he doesn't understand because a lot of things visit the beach that doesn't live on the beach. So we are visited by all kind of creatures of light. We are visited from all kind of these dark creatures that visit us. Some of them interact with us, okay, but they're just visiting. And most of them, just like when we go to the beach, we see crabs and jellyfish, but we're just visiting the beach. We don't try to explain to the jellyfish or to the crabs, hey, this is a holiday. I had the weekend off. My family's here out of town. The crab don't understand. The crab doesn't understand why sometimes the beach is empty and sometimes the beach is like this. He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. Okay. And we don't understand why all these different creatures are visiting us and interacting with us. Most of them, just like the crab, are just here to have a good time. Okay. And that's why we see UFOs and all this other stuff just flying from point A to point B, and we're just the local wildlife. Okay. And jet planes don't stop over the Amazon to explain to the people in the natives in the rainforest where this plane is going, and they're busy. So we are visited by a lot of these spirit creatures, which are what we now refer to as plasma beings. We have things here which are people that have lost their avatar called ghosts. And we even visited by the very scary stuff, which they talk about in Necronomicon. We're visited also by things that live between the spaces. What in the hell is things that live between the spaces? They visit us here too. Remember, the crab is just trying to figure out those things from the ocean and the things that live on the land. But every now and then, something comes down from the sky, grabs one of them, and go back upstairs. Those things are birds. They're not of the land or of the sea. There are creatures that exist in what we now refer to as hyperspace, which is not a part of our space, which is not a part of those two galaxies. They're in the spaces in between all of this. These are these weird looking creatures that look like giant jellyfish or giant octopus that people take pictures of. Okay. These creatures are very strange. Okay. Angels don't want to have nothing to do with them. Spirit creatures, ghosts don't want to have nothing to do with these things. They are just weird. Okay. And there's very few books that talk about things between the spaces. Okay. But we are interacting with a lot of things. Now, Lynn, what do this have to do with what's going on in my house? Because if you have ghosts in your house, we do not know how many ghosts there is. The estimate is there's millions or billions of ghosts. We have no idea. But from people that have talked to ghosts, as I talked about last year, and things that, we've been asking the same questions for thousands of years. But we have a glimpse that this ghost world is humongous. And this ghost world is normally referred to as neither world because it's not a part of our world. It's not a part of the spirit world. It is a part of neither. It's the space. It's just that void in between. This neither world, or this world of twilight, or what the Catholics call purgatory, or whatever. The first people to write about this world was the Egyptians. They talked about this land that was empty, that was the eternal land of reeds. Okay. Now this land which is empty, it's not empty no more. It's very crowded. And from what we understand, this neither world is like a giant ghetto now. It's just super crowded, not only with ghosts, but some spirit creatures, some weird creatures that, oh my gosh, there's all kind of stuff over there. So ghosts are trying to find a safe place. Ghosts are trying to move out of the ghetto and try to get a safe place to live, because ghosts and spirits do not get along with one another. Okay. And there are some weird creatures in that neither world space that they are afraid of. And there is some ghosts that try to capture other ghosts so they can try to stack their energy to make themselves stronger. That's what makes a poltergeist. So a ghost is trying to find a safe place. And that safe place is called your home. Okay, because your home is nice and quiet and you keep it nice and clean and it's very peaceful and it's the perfect hideout. Okay. And ghosts is like roaches. They don't need a lot of space. They can hide in a corner. They can hide in the closet. They can hide in the basement. They don't need a lot of room. And most ghosts are under something called coexistence, as we talked about last week. This is why you don't see them, because they're only around when you're not there. Unless you have video cameras in your house and things like that, and then you have problems, because the ghosts believe you're not home. The ghosts don't understand video cameras. And then you got these surveillance cameras and you're seeing chairs move and you're seeing these orbs of light in your house and things like that, and you're cheating. Okay, because you're not supposed to be home till 5:30, okay? And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's the ghost time to be out. And the ghost is doing his little ghost thing. Okay. And you're taking pictures and saying all of this, and you're like, what the hell? Okay. So, getting rid of ghosts is the easy part. It's the easiest way of cleaning things. Okay. Because ghosts, as I said, is like roaches. You can easily get rid of ghosts by using things that ghosts like, as I said, they live in that twilight world. So they like a house that is a little bit dark. I'm not saying physically dark, spiritually a little dark. So if you raise the vibration level of your house, it makes it hard for ghosts to live there. Just like roaches like to live in a house that's not super, super clean. If you keep your house super clean, it makes it hard for roaches to live there. Okay, so this is why when people use holy water or they spiritually cleanse their house or use sage or do things like that, or just physically cleaning the house, especially if you have a junky basement and there's all kind of boxes and things down there, and you haven't been down there in 2-3 years, and then you go down there and you feel that, oh my gosh, maybe I should make it 2-3 more years before I come back down here. Okay, because the ghosts love it down there. Now, if you actually go through and clean up your basement, you're going to lose a few roaches, and you're going to lose a few ghosts too, because the ghosts like it kind of cluttered and kind of messy and a little, okay. They like the light level being low. But when you start cleaning everything and doing sage, and why do this stuff work? Because the ghost doesn't like things that raise the vibration level of a house. Okay. How do you raise the vibration level of a house? See, this is what Tesla was talking about. Tesla said everything is a vibration. Okay. And they have proven this Israeli scientists around 10 years ago, by doing water experiments. They would do, and I'm going to talk about these water experiments that they were doing, and they're still experimenting with this today because scientists don't understand it. What these water experiments was doing, you can take water, purified water, and you can speak to the water, and you can say, I love you, you're beautiful, whatever, and then you freeze the water, and the water will crystallize. And the crystalline pattern it will make is a beautiful pattern. But if you start using all 4-letter words and FU, this and that, you go to and you freeze that water and crystallize it, the pattern it makes is a very ugly pattern because everything is a vibration, either a positive vibration or a negative vibration. You get what I'm saying? This is why when you go into a church, if it is a good church, you feel that when you walk in there. Okay. And if you go into a good bar or a good nightclub, you feel that when you walk in. That's one of the tricks that people don't know. You can never cleanse a bar or a bar or a nightclub. If you clean a bar or a nightclub, it will go out of business probably within a few months or a year. Because people like to go to bars and nightclubs to get your hands dirty. You get what I'm saying? They want to drink a little bit. They want to have a good time. They want to curse. They want to let their hair down. They don't want to go in a bar that feels like they're in a church. And if you cleanse a bar and raise the vibration level very high, people won't feel comfortable in there. Amazing. Okay. You get what I'm saying? And if you go to church, this is why, if you go to a good church, this is how you know if a church is a good church or a good bad church, or a synagogue is a good one or a bad one, whatever. When you walk in the door, you should feel something. If you walk in and you don't feel nothing, okay. You see what I'm saying? Because that's supposed to be a holy place. And what makes a holy place holy is that it has an extremely high vibration. So I keep my house at an extremely high vibration. And when you cleanse a house, if you got a lot of friends that's into a lot of drugs and doing everything and smoking weed and all that kind of stuff, once you cleanse your house and you invite your friends over, well, let's get out of here. They don't feel comfortable. Okay. And that's one question people ask me. When you clean a house, how long will the cleansing last? I tell you, it can last 1 day or a year. It depends on you. If you're yelling, screaming, and hollering and fighting in here, the light level will be by tomorrow. Okay. But if you keep this place holy and sacred, if you and your wife got to fight, you need to do that outside. If you need to yell at your kids, you're not, okay. You can keep the vibration level high and keep love and joy in your house. That's why when you walk in some houses, it feels so good. And those houses that feel so good, they don't have a lot of ghosts in them. But those houses that feel kind of, they have a lot of problems. Okay. So the best way to cleanse a house is to raise the vibration level of a house. And how do you raise the vibration level of a house? Well, okay, people say, well, you should put crosses and Bibles in a house. Only if you believe. See, what makes crosses sacred is if you're a Christian and you believe and you put Bible and crosses in your house, then those are positive items. If you're a non-believer, this is a trick that some people that's doing a lot of bad stuff do. I have been in houses where people are doing everything, and the house has got Bibles in every room, and that house is full of everything. Those are decorative items. I have some things in my house, some carvings from India and whatever, but they're just decorative. A lot of people have Buddhas in their house. They're just decorative Buddhas. But if you go into a Buddhist house and they have that Buddha and they burn incense to the Buddha every day and whatever, when I used to sell real estate back in Houston, I've been in houses where you open up a closet and there's a giant Buddha in there and you can just, oh my God, the energy of that thing will almost knock you over. I've also been in houses where, especially along the border dealing with Spanish, you have those Santa Muerte statues, and you can feel the energy coming off of those things. So powerful and so strong. Okay. But most people houses, you feel nothing because their house is not high, their house is not low. So if you can make your house as holy or unholy as you want it, and if you raise the vibration level of your house, so Lynn, what is some ways to raise the vibration level of my house? So there will be less arguing and fighting. Maybe I can get rid of a ghost or two or whatever. If you're a believer, you can hang religious items in your house. You can always get some holy water. You can say prayers in your house. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of things you can do to raise you. You can play, as they have said, they have even taken water and played classical music to the water and crystallize it. And again, you get that beautiful pattern. But if you're playing heavy metal, rap, all this other stuff, I'm not going to mention any names. I shouldn't, Carly B and everything. And then you crystallize that water. It might be doing bump and grind, but other than that, is not definitely a beautiful pattern. You get what I'm saying? And they have done this with thousands of different things. They have even done it with plants, where they have two plants. And one, they keep the plants in two separate rooms with a divider between. One plant, they give both plants the same amount of nutrition and water, but one plant people come up to it every day and say, I love you, you're beautiful, this and that. The other plant, people say, I hate you, you're ugly, I despise you. And the one plant is twice the size of the other plant. They have done these experiments over and over and over again. Science cannot explain these things. But it's the vibration. That's what happened with kids. If you keep telling your kids how stupid you are and how dumb you are and whatever, he probably won't turn out to be an Einstein. You know what I'm talking about? Because you have dumbed him down. You have hit him in the head with the hammer so many times that he doesn't believe in himself. You got to raise your vibration. Even telling your kids every day, I love you. Oh, you look so nice today. I like this shirt. Okay, I love you. I want you to come. Okay, even doing that, life is still hard in hell. But at least you're giving your kid, your husband, your wife a fighting chance in this world. You got to do your best. You got to aim for the mountaintop. Even aiming for the mountaintop, you might hit in the middle of the mountain. If you're aiming at the bottom of the mountain, you might shoot yourself in the foot. You understand? So back to ghosts and spirits. To keep stuff out of your house, you have to keep the spirit, the energy level, the vibration high. Okay. And you can put holy things or sacred things in your house. But it only works if you believe. So if you're Muslim and you put a Bible in your house, it does nothing. That's why I have a Buddha in my house. It does nothing. It's decorative. I'm not rubbing on the Buddha. I'm not burning incense to my Buddha. It's just a decorative Buddha. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But if you're Christian and have Christian items in your house, if you're Muslim and have Muslim items in your house, if you're Hindu and have Hindu items in your house, those things raise vibration. But also it works the other extreme. If you're doing things in your house to pull the vibration level down, that's the reason you walk in some houses and it's like, oh my gosh. Okay. You feel it. When you walk in there, it hits you. Because they're doing everything in there. And I have done cleansings in houses. And sometimes, especially with abandoned houses and whatever, you walk in a room. This happened to me like 2 or 3 months ago. This guy bought this abandoned house and he wanted to fix it up, but he was having problems. Every time he tried to work in the house, he couldn't work for more than 30, 40 minutes because he had to get the hell out of there. Okay. When I cleansed that house, I don't know what they was doing. I told them there was an old bed in one of the rooms. I said, I don't know what they was doing. I don't know if someone got raped in here or someone got, but when you walked in that room, it almost made you want to cry. It was just so sad and so, okay. You see what I'm saying? See, we don't believe in this stuff, but it's not a thing if you believe it or not. It works. It's the same thing if you believe it or don't believe it. Okay. This is why I'm tired of people. Well, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this. Okay. It doesn't make any difference. We are human beings. We work on vibration. We work by feel. We work by what sensation. Okay. So if you want to have less ghosts, less problems in your house, keep the vibration high. So a lot of people, what they use to raise the vibration is they use crystals, especially by putting crystals around the corner of your house. What I use to clean houses, I spray with frankincense and myrrh. A lot of people use holy water. See, there is no right or wrong way. It's something which is spiritual or holy to you. You get what I'm saying? Okay. And I like frankincense and myrrh because to me, that is what they burned for Jesus. I believe that is sacred. Some people use sandalwood. Some people, any sacred fragrance will do. Or some people don't even use a sacred fragrance. A lot of people use sage. They do it the American Indian way. Whatever works. Okay. Back in the old days, they used to use garlic. That's what they used to use in old Europe. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Now, this works very good with ghosts and controlling ghosts. Remember, ghosts are roaches. And by cleaning up your house and keeping your house very clean, the roach population will go down because roaches and ghosts don't like a clean house. Spiritually and physically, they're the same. Okay. Now, but Lynn, is what you just said, will that work with spirits? And a lot of times, no. Okay. Because spirits, they're not things that are not plugged in. Spirit creatures are these things that are visiting us. And spirit creatures normally only come to the beach for their own reason. So a lot of times when you got spirits in your house, 90% of the time you did something to bring the spirit to your house. And that's what I do when I do a reading. I do mediation work. I can talk to almost anything. I can talk to, okay, we're not going there, definitely not. But anyway, I ask them, why are you here? A lot of times they say, I was called. I say, who called you? Okay. That lady that hired you to clean the house. And then I said, did you burn a candle for protection? Or did you do this? Well, okay. Or did you burn that candle for money? Or did you burn that candle for this or that? Well, I didn't see nothing bad with it. Well, you wanted protection. This thing in your house is saying he's protecting the house. But I'm seeing the shadow. That's that you asked, you burnt a protection candle. He answered the request. He's protecting the house. And now you're complaining that the spirit that's protecting your house, you see him. Well, he's here. Okay. Do you want him here or not? Okay. This is what people don't understand. When you ask for things, it's like, right? What I tell people, it's like writing a check. When you write a check, you got to, a prayer and a cantation is one and the same. They are split into three parts. It's like a letter. The first part is who you're talking to. The bottom is what you want it to do. The middle, no one cares. That's the reason in spell books, especially in those satanic books, they will leave the top and the bottom in a language you don't understand. They just say pronounce it the best you can. And then the middle they put in English. Because the middle, no one cares. And you don't know what you're saying. You're just trying to pronounce, and you're calling up everything. And you're doing all kind of stuff. And then you got things in your house and things are moving and whatever. And you said, well, I had that book and I was reading that. Okay. And a lot of this stuff on the dark side is in code. Okay. Like, for example, I mentioned Necronomicon before. Necronomicon got callings written into the book. A lot of Wiccan books have callings that is a part of the book. When you read the book, you read the calling. It says, read this. Okay. And you just read it. And it says, for prosperity, read this. And for if you need money, read this. And you don't know who you're calling on, and you don't know what you're asking them to do. You just read it. But if you read a Muslim prayer, you have said a Muslim prayer. If you read a Hindu prayer, you have done a Hindu prayer. You cannot do that. Shouldn't be doing it if you're a Christian. I guess you shouldn't be doing Muslim and Hindu prayers. Okay, so if you're going to read those books, if you're going to read Necronomicon and these other books you shouldn't be reading like I have, you got to know how to read them. You don't read the very top. You don't read the very bottom. You read everything else. Because then you have a letter. You didn't address it to anybody. You didn't tell it what you wanted. Okay. So I've read a lot of things. I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible. I've read Hindu texts. I'm not doing Hindu prayers. I'm not doing, all this other stuff, but I can read it because I know how to read it. Okay. And I don't have things in my house. Things are not floating around. I don't play that. Okay. Spirits are not allowed in my house. Ghosts are not allowed in my house. Okay. I work with them, but they work under my rules. It's my house. And that's what the people that are really deep. I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm known for pissing people off. Wiccans always have their protection circles and everything and got to do their salt and all this stuff. In the demonic Bible, it talks something different. It says, if you want to be one with them, how can you work with them if you are afraid of them and going to use circles and salt to protect you from things you want to work with? You have to embrace them to be one with them. Okay. What does that even mean? See, if you want to be a member of the gang, you can't be afraid of the gang you want to be a member of. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Satanists do not use circles. They don't use salt. They're one with them. Okay. But they don't want, even though they might be one with them, they don't want their kids and their wife to be one with them. So they set up special rooms, special rules, seal things. You get what I'm talking about? Okay. You got to know what you're doing. This is the main complaint with people. Before, if you wanted to do the metaphysical, if you wanted to be a high priestess, if you wanted to be a wizard, whatever, you had to be an apprentice. Sometimes for 5, 10, 20 years. Today, you just go on Facebook, Google a few things. Within 20 minutes, hey, I got it. I'm a high priestess. It doesn't work that way. You can't say, go on Google, read a few things on the internet and say, okay, I'm a brain surgeon now. Okay. It doesn't work that way. If you want to do this, you have to, it's going to take the most important thing in your life, your time and effort. Okay. And I have devoted a lot of my life to this. Okay. 30 years, probably more, almost 40 years. I've been dealing with this stuff. Okay. But the difference between a Gnostic and these other people, a Gnostic want to understand and comprehend. So I have read all kind of books, and I read the Demonic Bible, I read Necronomicon, I read the worst of the worst. But I read those books so I can understand. Remember, you are tying the knots. I'm untie them. You have to know how the knots are tied if you're going to untie them. Okay. So I understand what these people are doing, but I choose not to do it. Okay. See, I do something called light work. Okay. I understand the dark side. I have studied the dark side for a super long time. I got all their books. I got everything. But I do this so when people call me, you spend hundreds of dollars to put that spell on your ex-wife. And I undo it for $20. Okay. Sometimes I don't even charge. Okay. It just depends. Okay. So, why did I go into this? Because if you don't want spirits in your house, spirits normally have better things to do. Spirits consider us a type of animal. Okay. Spirits consider us low class. So for a spirit to deal with us, it has to be something in it for them. They are not going to waste their time with the low life. Okay. If there's nothing in it for them. So you can get your binding books out, this and that, and you say, I bound him. He's forced to do everything I tell him to do. And the analogy is you bound that giant dragon and you say, okay, you got me bound. I'm forced to do whatever you do. It's a joke. Because the dragon is not bound. He's just pretending. Okay. Because you think you're getting him to do everything, but he's getting you to do everything he wants you to do. The analogy is between us working with spirits. We are elementary school kids. They are college students. It's easy for the babysitter to fool the kid. It's hard for the kid to fool the babysitter. Okay. So when you're dealing with spirits, you really need to be careful. You almost need a lawyer because you need to dot every I and cross every T when you're working with them because they will trick you and deceive. Remember, the devil is not a liar. He's a deceiver, and he will trick you. And if you're going to deal with them, you got to make sure you got to know what you're doing. Okay. But I'm not trying to say that all these creatures are bad. Some of these creatures are here to help. And there are a lot of spirit creatures on this planet which are doing good things. I don't want to imply that they're all doing bad things. But most of them are here for a reason which is beyond our comprehension and beyond our understanding. Remember, we live and die within the motion of a single star, within the single movement of a star. To spirit creatures, that's like the life of a dayfly. Okay. Some of these creatures can live hundreds or thousands of years. And when you deal with spirit creatures, we're thinking about tomorrow, next week. They think in large amounts of time. So they're working on you because in 5 years or in 10 years, you're going to do this or that for them. They got those long-term objectives. And you're worried about tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, I can help you with that tomorrow. But he's slowly bending you to where, and that's what have happened to me 100 times. Over the last 30 years, there are things I said I would never do, I never agree to. And 5-10 years later, I'm doing exactly what I said I would never agree to do. Okay, and I'm wondering, how did I get here? Okay. because they take the long road. So, if you're going to work with spirit creatures, if they're going to be in your house, so the first question is, if you have spirit creatures in your house, how did they get there and who called them? Okay. And if you don't want spirit creatures in your house, do not call them. And if you're going to write a check, make sure you write the check to the person you're dealing with. That's what I ask people. Who are you working with? I work with everybody. It doesn't make any sense. That's just like asking a professional football player, whose team you on? Oh, I'm on everybody's team. You're like, what? What do you mean you're on everybody's team? I play for everybody. What? You can't. You don't play that upstairs. Either you could be on God's team, you can be on Santa Muerte's team, there's a lot of teams out there. That's the reason I call it the game of soccer, because to be in motion. And when you get into very deep stuff, people will tell you, I work with this person. I work with this spirit. Okay. And me and that spirit is like this. So, if you do have spirits in your house, in most cases, you are not able to get them out of your house. You're going to need professional help. Okay, in most cases. Burning sage in most cases, okay. Spraying holy water. That's the reason you get these movies like The Exorcist and whatever. You got some big giant spirit creature and you pull out your little cross and say, I'd order you out of there. They just laugh in your face. Okay. You got to know what they're doing. And this is even in the Bible. Okay. So is Lynn talking crazy? What happened in the Bible? The apostles was casting out demons in Jesus' name. Then these other people said, well, we can cast out demons too. And then they tried it. And the demons said, we know Jesus, but we don't know you. And the demons jumped inside of them. Okay. You have to know what you're doing. So if you have spirits in your house, you need to get assistance to remove them in most cases. But the secret of spirits is you don't want to invite them in your house. So if you're going to be burning a candle or something like this, and and a lot of times people are burning this stuff. I got this candle from this magic store, and this lady told me if I burn this candle, I can, I want to find a boyfriend. She prepared this candle for me, and I just need to burn it. And then ever since you burnt that candle, you notice that your house has been a little bit different. You got to be careful where you're buying your stuff from. You just like doctors, you have to know who to trust, who not to trust. So when it comes to ghosts, most people can get rid of their ghost problems. When it comes to spirit creatures, a lot of times you need assistance. And when you get into very powerful spirits, boy, you need assistance. Okay. You need, sometimes to get rid of them, it's not a one episode thing. It takes several visits, several things to try to, and a lot of times the only way to get rid of the big stuff is to get assistance from upstairs. Okay. We cannot do the heavy lifting on our own. And if you got something super big and super powerful, which is affecting your wife or affecting your kids or this or that, you're going to need assistance from those people upstairs. So you're going to have to deal with somebody who has special friends who can help you to get rid of that problem. Okay. But most people do not have spirits in their house. Most people have ghosts in their house. And what you want to do is by keeping your house spiritually cleansed, by keeping things right, normally you don't have problems. The only problem that some people have is like when apartments or things like that. If you move into an apartment or you move into a house and the people that lived there before was doing all kind of satanic work or all kind of stuff or doing all kind of weird stuff, You should have noticed that when you was buying the house, when you walked into that room and like, oh my gosh, I like this house, but I don't think I changed my. Okay, that's the reason you got to do that walkthrough. Okay. And if a house is having problems, same in an apartment, and people say, I felt something when I got in this apartment, but I really loved it. And I knew when I got in here something, I felt something, but I just thought it would go away by itself or whatever. No, it's not going away by itself. Okay. So, the easiest way to avoid that is if you're going to move into an apartment or whatever, you always want to tour the place first. Go through all the rooms. And if you can walk through all the rooms without something going, oh my gosh, you got the green light. If you feel a little something, the light is yellow. If you walk into that room, and even I have done cleansings where I told the people, you don't have much of a problem. This house really don't have anything. And then in the middle of a sentence, I stop and like, oh my gosh, this room got a lot of problems. Yeah, we never come in here. We never, okay. Oh, I know, oh my gosh. Okay. When you walk in that room and something is, oh my gosh. And people still buy those houses. People still rent those apartments. Why would you do that? Okay, you got to use your sixth sense. You got to go. If it doesn't feel right, don't buy it. The same thing, how you can bring things into your house if you're buying at flea markets or garage sales or whatever. If you're going to buy something, like if you see that Buddha over there, oh, that Buddha would look good, go and pick it up. If you go to pick it up and it kind of tingles and I did a reading on this lady's house. She was into African mask. She knew when she bought this one mask, it was a problem. She had it in her living room. And then she kept moving it. She finally put it outside. And it was still having problems. She put it all the way in the back of her property. And you could still feel that thing. I told her, you need to get rid of that thing. That thing was radiating so much energy. I don't know what was wrong with that thing, but that thing was. Now, she knew when she bought it, but it was so cute and so. When you buy something, when you receive something, if you get negative vibes from it, you got to use your sixth sense. We all have those abilities. You have to be aware. I don't care if it's a piece of jewelry, if it's a dress, if it's a guy you just met and you get that feeling like, I like that guy, but something about him, I don't know what it. We have to learn that we have more senses than just our five senses. We have a lot of abilities that we don't use. And things give off vibrations. Okay. People give off vibrations. And if we learn to tune in and plug in, we can sense things about people. We can sense things about the environment. We can sense things about what's going on with our kids and the ones we love. We won't be going around with these blinders on. We can sense things about the ones we love if they're fooling around or our kids are using drugs or okay, we can sense stuff. But normally we have the TV too loud, we're laughing and drinking too much, we're doing all kinds of, this is why we don't notice. But to error is human. So don't believe that, well, I made a mistake. It's, no. I make mistakes all the time, but I try not to make the same mistake. There's always that new mistake I can make. I don't need to make that same mistake twice or three times or, okay, you get what I'm saying? I'm out to make that new mistake. I hope I was able to give you some great ideas. We're out of time. If you want to continue this thing about ghosts and spirits and whatever, you want to talk about the underworld or whatever, you let me know. But I'm here to talk about things that you're not going to hear about on regular TV, regular this. I'm not here to tell you about, oh, you're going to get another boyfriend next week, or you're going to hit the lottery 2 weeks from now. Those are called sweet lies. You can get that somewhere else on another podcast. I'm not here to tell you sweet lies. I'm here to tell you the cold, bitter truth. So if you like this show, share it with your friends. I'm here every Tuesday on my Facebook page and here on the Spirit Room Network every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time. And until then, I'm Lynn David Livsey, your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm out of here. Thank you. Bye. Hope to see you next week. Have a nice one.